Hello everyone, welcome to One Page Biology. So in this video, we are going to see the second part of classical complement pathway. So let's understand this particular pathway. So in classical complement pathway, initially the C1q protein is going to bind to the Fc region of antigen antibody complex. Once it binds to the antigen antibody complex, this will result in change in conformation of C1R molecule, right? Now what will happen is the C1R will further activate, it will activate another C1R molecule. So remember that this C1R molecule, this particular C1R molecule is in the dimer form. It is a dimer, and there are two Cr molecules which are associated with each other. As soon as the C1q protein binds to the C1R molecule, it will activate the another C1R molecule. So this C1R molecule is further going to cleave and activate activate C1s molecule, C1s. Now this C1s has two substrates. C1s molecule has two substrates. These are nothing but C4 and C2. Now we need to know that C4 is activated when C1s cleaves C4 into C4a and C4b. Now remember, all of you, C4b is the major complement molecule. Now next what happens is, as soon as the C4 molecule is broken down into C4a and C4b, now you need to remember that out of which C4a majorly plays a very important role in anaphylatoxin. And anaphylatoxin means majorly it helps in causing inflammation at a particular site. Whereas C4b, now what is C4b going to do? Now as soon as the C1 has bound to C4b, what happens is the C2 molecule becomes susceptible and it breaks into C2a and C2b. And what actually happens is C2b actually diffuses away. So what is actually remaining behind is C4b 2a complex, which is basically called as the C4b 2a complex is called as a C3 convertase, right? So let me revise once again. So previously we just saw that initially there was C1q protein which basically binds to the Fc region of antigen antibody complex, which is associated with the membrane of a cell. Once the C1q protein binds to antigen antibody complex, there will be a change in the conformation of C1R molecule. Now C1R basically will activate another C1R molecule. As soon as the another C1R molecule is activated, it will cleave and activate the C1s molecule. Now C1s will further activate the C4 and the C2 molecules. So now what will happen? C1s will further break down C4 into C4a and C4b. out of which C4A majorly acts as an anaphylatoxin. That means it helps in causing inflammation. Whereas C4B associates with C1 to form a complex which is nothing but C1C4B complex. Now this C1C4B complex will further activate C2 and it will break the C2 into C2A and C2B, out of which the C2B is going to diffuse away, and what results is the formation of a complex which is called as C4B2A complex. Now this particular complex is called as C3 convertase. Now this particular complex, that is C4B2A, which is also known as, you have to remember, this is also called as C3 convertase. Now this particular complex is going to break down C3 into C3B and C3A. Now what we need to know is, same as that of C4B, even this C3A acts as a good anaphylatoxin. That means it is going to help in causing inflammation. Now what does the C3B do? Now this C3B is going to bind to the antigen antibody complex. When I say it binds to the antigen antibody complex, remember that it is going to bind to the Fc region of the antigen antibody complex. Now the resultant complex which will be formed is nothing but C4B 2A C3B complex. Correct? Now this complex is capable of activating another molecule which is nothing but C5 molecule, which will further break down C5 into C5A and C5B, out of which again this is going to act as anaphylatoxin, whereas C5B will associate with this particular complex. So the resultant complex is going to be C4B 2A 3B complex, which is known as C5 convertase. So this particular convertase, along with the other molecules like C6, C7, C8 and C9, form a complex which is called as membrane attack complex. Basically it is nothing but membrane attack complex, and this particular complex, which ultimately will lead to the formation of pores in the cell, and it will ultimately lead to the hydrolysis of the cell, and ultimately the cell will be killed. So this was the complete classical complement pathway. So if you have understood this particular classical complement pathway, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. See you all in the next video. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.